This conference will now be recorded.
All right. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Good morning.
We're about to begin our meeting this morning. Do we have any volunteers on the prayer? If not,
Okay.
Commissioner.
Thank you, Lord, for making another day that we can come and do the business of Dooley County. We just ask, Lord, that you be with us as we do the business of the county and what you prepared for us this morning to address. We just ask that you give us wisdom, you give us strength, you give us guidance in all that we do. We just ask you continue to be with those in our community that are less fortunate, those that have illness, those who have lost loved ones. We just pray that you'd be in their midst, Lord, this morning. We just ask that you forgive us, go with us for the remainder of this day. For us in Christ's name we pray all things. Amen.
Amen. Let's all stand and join me in the pledge of allegiance. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, you may be seated. All right. We have a proposed agenda before you. What's the pleasure of the board?
Good, Mr. Chairman. If tentatively, if y'all agree to it, I thought the meeting should be over by 10 o'clock. The Planning Commission has had a guy with River Valley Regional Commission working on updating our zoning ordinance.
Mm-hmm.
He's prepared a draft of the ordinance, and he's going to log in at 10 o'clock. He works out of the River Valley's Columbus office, and rather than him driving all the way over here for a 10-minute little spiel, we're going to try to get him to log in and sort of just give y'all a brief explanation of what he's done and where he's at in the process, if that's okay with y'all. So
Okay.
I'd like to add that to the agenda.
Dave? Tim?
No, sir.
Eugene?
I'm good.
Tony?
We don't have an executive session today. Bert not gonna be here.
Bert just sent me a text. He's tied up in court. He's going to try to get here.
Okay. So like, what I called you back the other day was it?
We can have executive session if you want to
Yeah.
discuss that.
Yeah. I want to have
Executive
add
session.
an executive session to it.
All right.
Won't last with 10 minutes.
All right.
It's that long.
Okay.
But I move, Mr. Chairman, that we accept the agenda with that added to with the executive session.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Okay, there has been motion and second. All in favor by the show of hands. Okay, that motion carries. Our old minutes were emailed to everybody. What's the pleasure of the board?
I so move that we accept.
Okay. Second. Okay, there has been motion and second. Do we have any discussion or correction on the old minutes? If not, all in favor by the show of hands, and that motion carries. Eugene, it's on you.
Pass that around, please.
Okay. I ain't used to the paper coming from that
I'm
way.
from the wrong way, ain't it?
So
Right.
all right, Judge Bowen, you want to come on up? He's here to talk about item number 13 on the agenda.
Before I get started here, I'd like to bring the check to you before I say anything.
Oh, we're gonna let him say what he wants. He need to come to the meeting more often.
In probate courts now, we have this opportunity to ask for local legislation concerning a technology fee for our courts. The technology fee would add $5 to each traffic citation. that $5 goes back to the probate court where I can purchase computers. I can pay copier leases. I can pay a lot of office expenses with that $5 tech fee. And I think when we get it all up and running and going, that it would generate between $35,000 and $40,000 a year. So that'd give the opportunity for me to offset a lot of things that the county's having to pay for now on my own in my office. So I think it's a no-brainer, but the county commissioners do have to pass a resolution so we can ask for the local legislation, then run the ad in the local organ. And Senator Walker has agreed to introduce it if y'all wish to do so. So that's just it in a nutshell.
All right.
You just need a motion?
Yes, sir.
I so move that we accept this resolution.
Second.
Okay, there has been motion and second, so we're gonna get some more checks when we pass the thing here.
Well, you're not going to get a check. You're just not going to have to spend as much on me.
Okay.
We're getting less bills.
Yeah.
So we can handle the budget a little bit better.
It works out both ways. It works out.
Okay. All in favor by the show of hands? And that motion carries.
Okay.
Let me get your signature, Mr. Chairman, before I forget it. It seemed like it'll sunset after 10 years.
Yes, it does sunset after 10 years, and then you have to reintroduce it if you want it to keep going. So there is a sunset to it.
But these funds will go into a checking account
That I have to maintain.
that he maintains at the probate court.
If they approve it in January, then it'll start effect right after they approve it? Or
We're trying to make it July 1.
July 1?
Uh-huh. So that's usually when everything will start. So July 1, we hopefully get it up and going. So it'll take a while to build it up, but it'll get there. All right.
Thank y'all.
It's a good thing there.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Roy.
Okay, let me get back here. Okay, we took care of the minutes. We'll have the financial report for October, hopefully at the next meeting. Update on the EMS station, they moved in. They've been in about a week and a half now, so I haven't heard any issues, so I'm assuming everything's going well.
Do we have the final numbers on that?
Hope to have that when I have the financial report ready. Saying that, Brandon Christmas, our building maintenance guy, says he's been approached by a couple of folks wanting to know what the county's plans was for the old carport that we had at the old EMS station there behind the old high school building. It's just one of those metal. It's a large one, but it's.
Seems like they should be able to move it to the Pinehurst and use it for something. What do you want to sell it?
He just want to know he asked me what's the county's plans for it. I hadn't even thought about it. Wouldn't he talk? Ronnie's supposed to be here. We'll see if he's got any use for it. Give him an opportunity first before we do anything. Okay.
But on the EMS building, we did come up on the budget, right?
I'll have the numbers at the next meeting.
Okay.
Yes, hopefully. Item number 4, the new SPLOST. I have sent a copy of the intergovernmental agreement to all the cities. Asked them to go ahead and get their councils to approve the intergovernmental agreement at their next meeting and let me know, and then I'll go around and get the mayor's signatures all on the original document and then provide everybody a copy of the fully signed document at the end. So I believe there's a couple of cities have, I think, according to my calendar, Pinehurst and Byronville meet tonight.
Yeah.
I know Pinehurst.
So I'll touch base with them tomorrow to try to find out that and then hopefully get that checked off the list. Item number 5, that we had Grant Richardson with River Valley Regional Commission come a couple meetings ago, talking about the community development block grant program, and the board has agreed to try to submit an application for a housing rehab grant. Y'all identified, I think, 4 or 5 different sections. We're in the process of working on that. The grant, I thought Grant was going to be doing the application, but it's been assigned to somebody else for River Valley. Ian Perry, I believe was his name. I've spoken to him on the phone. He's getting his ducks lined up right now, and then he's going to be back in touch with us about the next step in the process. The process is going to be significantly different than when Sherry Kurtz did our housing rehab grants. Apparently, when Sherry did them, she did all the legwork. We didn't do none of the legwork. Well, River Valley, they don't have the staff to do all the legwork, so somebody on the county side is going to have to do a lot of the legwork on initially. I've reached out to Scotty Mashburn out at EDC and sort of asked him and his staff to sort of be prepared to help do some of the legwork. So we'll see how the process goes.
But how long is it going to take?
Don't know yet, because unfortunately the guy with Ian with River Valley, he's new to all this, so he's got to learn the process, and then we'll go through the process. But just to show you what I had done, let me show you what I sent him some of the initial work I did on one of the sections of the road, just to see if we were heading in the right direction.
When Sherry did it, how was she compensated? From the grant?
From the grant. And that was all the compensation she received. Was the grant. The grant includes a certain percentage for administration of the grant. That's just built into the grant application. And I'm assuming River Valley is going to do the same. They'll get the same percentage that the grant allows for administration.
But the success, so we got a new guy at River Valley, and we got new folks out here that's never written.
It's going,
He got plenty of experience. Sherry got paid real well.
But we always got the grant.
Yeah. Well, I ain't no comment on. Yeah, we got the grant. We got.
People got the houses fixed.
Well, yeah, they got the houses fixed. To answer your question. Okay.
What I did, I just picked the Franklin Road section.
Okay.
So just to start, that's when I picked. And then what I did, I went to the tax assessor's website, and they got fairly recent pictures of. They're not today's pictures like this one was back in 2017, but that's the best we got. Just to start, then somebody's going to have to actually go out there on each side and take current pictures, but this is just a starting point for it. So I've got a picture of each house according to the tax assessor's website. Then I got a printout of the tax assessor's information on the house from their website. So, and then just showing you.
Mm-hmm.
And I got the address, the parcel number, and the property owner's name on each picture. So we'll just go through here right quick, so you can see some of the houses that's on that section.
Excuse me.
Was that White House before that? Was that on that too? That quick shot.
Some of these is kind of
Right.
is kind of mixed, yeah. But the picture for this part for parcel 1216 is a mobile home.
Mm-hmm.
But then when you get over here to their website, it's got a picture of a house.
I was just trying to count. That's 4 right there.
Yeah, I don't.
That picture of a house is on 198 acres.
So, I mean, some of this is going to require
That's
on
five.
site.
That's 5. Yeah.
But we're gonna have to pick the 5, Tony. I guess what we.
Well, one of the first steps, there's going to be an actual survey that's going to get mailed to all these households for them to respond.
Mhm.
Basically asking a whole lot of questions
Mhm.
to try to determine if they qualify for the grant program or not. Now, and I think that's, from what I understand, talking to other communities, you can't count on a good response from that. Somebody's going to actually have to physically follow up with some of these to get the survey filled out.
Well, just looking at that right now, what it says state, that's pretty much gonna do that one, ain't it? Yeah, I mean, just.
Right. That's why I
But
said
go
we're
ahead.
gonna have to pick. I mean, it's a long, drawn out project, but they ask real thorough question, and they're gonna do some real research on it. A lot of people don't qualify. They think they do.
It's
Yeah,
not easy.
yeah.
People here,
I mean, all these houses are in perfect condition. Why are we sure this is a stretch of road? All right, I mean, that would.
Well, some of them, not all of them, but yeah, they got pictures of the good houses. Yeah, it's
oh,
all.
this
got
guy
a
might be
new
taking
roof.
the good side.
Yeah.
New roof.
New Britain. Okay.
Now we talking.
Okay.
But do they do mobile homes?
But that still is.
Well,
Yeah.
see, in the last
That
one,
just
they
means there's
did.
more than one person
I
on.
objected to that.
Right.
That don't
Now
necessarily-
they
that don't
got-
necessarily
I
mean
knew
a
she was
state.
lying, 'cause I went
That
to
don't
check it out.
necessarily
Okay,
mean
that
a
means-
state.
okay.
It may mean a state or it may not mean
Nah, I
it.
got
It may just be two people's name on it together.
you. Well, appreciate it. I learned something today.
Isn't that correct, Bert?
Right, here's the thing, you can't, there's a disclaimer when you go on Q Public that says, do not rely on this for legal purposes.
That's what this is just the initial.
Right, and you have any questions, ask Georgia Power about their reliance.
They can't get an address right.
You had that same problem too.
We got one address for taxes and one address for Georgia Power. That one needs a
Mixing, I mix
I don't know him.
Good God.
How much you want rent for that one? I've been looking for a place out that way.
It's a rich folk living on that road.
Yeah, I did that house.
Did you?
You better not put up Russell Taunton's house up there because, I mean, it used to be the Cape's house and they just renovated it. Ooh. Needs a little love.
Yeah.
Like, man, that
It needs a truck.
I thought I was going to do
All right now.
Nine houses.
On looking at it on the picture there,
Mhm.
probably till you get in
You
person.
get it, yeah.
But that would have a California state, Alabama
You see
state
those
power line.
pictures there, what, it's 2023.
Seven.
Yes, that's what, 6 years old,
Years
6,
ago.
7 years old, bro. Trust.
And a lot of times they address windows and doors and
Mm-hmm.
things like that that
I think that
might
was the
be,
last- that was the last
obsolete on
one.
the houses that they got there, but
Well, that's a side of it we don't necessarily look at either.
Anyway, I like
We
that.
have the sure enough rough places, the effect it has on people trying to keep their places up.
That's true.
And we're silent on that a lot of times, and so you got to show all of it.
Oh, yeah.
You gotta see the whole area.
So anyway, we'll keep y'all informed as we go in the process. Number 6, the LMIG for next year. Currently, the engineers are in the process of rating, scoring the roads that we've submitted. So
When was Coney? Was Coney this year?
I don't know that I ever knew exactly when Coney was scheduled in the T-Splosh.
25, I think.
25?
I just hope it can stay together till then.
Mm-hmm.
Motor graders, Rodney and I have talked, and we're we're still working on that. We'll hope to have something maybe at the next meeting for new motor graders. Is Rodney here?
Yep.
Mhm.
Okay, let me get to him. Just for information, the representative from the University of Georgia Institute of Government is coming down to conduct a 2-day planning and zoning training session, actually here in Dooley County in January. The planning commission has signed up. All the members of our planning commission have agreed to come. And I think they've even opened it up to some of the representatives from some of the cities. And I believe Glenn told me that I think all the cities, maybe except one, has agreed to send a representative to sit in on this to learn about planning and zoning. And even some people from outside, I think some people from Chris County is planning on coming up here also to sit in on the training. County commissioners are welcome to sit in if you like. If you do plan to sit in, let me know. It's going to be a 2-day, pretty much 2 full days of training.
Over there.
So-
Over to the building.
Probably going to be at the Business Development Center in that big conference room over there. I think it's where they are trying to get things set up. And then, like I said,
You know the dates already?
January the 16th and 17th.
That's my wife's birthday. I know.
Yeah.
Get her a ticket too.
That's what they do. Yeah, we just said that together.
On that day.
No excuse. No excuse, Tony.
Exactly.
All right. And then, like I said, at 10 o'clock, hopefully Rick Morris with the River Valley Regional Commission is going to be online to sort of give us an update on where he's at on updating our zoning ordinance. EMS accounts receivable, I'm still working on that, so give me a little time on that, please. Item number 10, the ACCG Fall Regional Meeting for our district is tomorrow in Taylor County at 10 a.m. at the Flint Energies in Reynolds. Vice Chairman Kaysen and myself are registered to attend that meeting. Item number 11, Dooley County is allowed to have 2 representatives on the Middle Flint Health and Wellness Board. Miss Betty Lamb currently serves as a representative. The other position is vacant. Does anybody have a recommendation? If not, we'll leave it on the agenda. Okay. Item number 12, at the Planning Commission's next meeting, which will be November the 13th, they're going to be considering an application for a conditional use for a new cell tower at 1049 North County Line Road. It's parcel 74-1. And in case you're wondering where that's at, let me back up. All right, this is I-75. This is Highway 41 north of Unadilla. This is the county line. And I think it's planned on going somewhere right at that. I think that's an old house site. It's going somewhere in that area right there, proposed. So just so y'all know where that, but that's a conditional use, and y'all have given the Planning Commission the authority to issue conditional uses. But y'all had just asked, y'all always like to know what's going to be going before the Planning Commission so y'all can be aware of it. So that's,
Is it a sign posted?
yes.
Okay, because I know a lot of people start moving. And they might
And
want to
that
see
land just sold the last couple of years.
Did it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, over there to the right, a lot of folks have moved.
And they pay pretty good too for that sale type of thing, don't they? Yeah.
Good. I got a spot they can have.
Yeah, I know. I'm talking about they pay real good.
All right. Item number 13, where I took care of that with Judge Bowen. That's the resolution. And just for information, upcoming holidays for county offices, Veterans Day is actually November the 11th, but it's going to be observed, which is on a Saturday. So it will be observed on Friday, November 10th. Thanksgiving Day, Thursday, November 23rd. And at Christmas, employees get 2 days for Christmas, Christmas Day, Christmas Eve, and Christmas Day. Well, this year, Christmas falls on Monday. Yeah, Christmas Eve falls on Sunday. So employees will be taking Christmas Day, Monday, and then Christmas, the day after Christmas for the 2 holidays. So, okay. Item number 15, the ACCG is strongly encouraging every county in the state to adopt a resolution urging the governor and the General Assembly to continue efforts to reform and improve mental health services for the citizens of Georgia. And ACCG has prepared a model ordinance and asking all the counties to adopt it to show support. And they have prepared a draft copy for Dooley County to adopt if you so wish. Basically, we're saying blah, 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 that the Dooley County Board of Commissioners specifically urges the governor and General Assembly to continue efforts in the 2024 session of the Georgia General Assembly to enhance Georgia's citizens' access to vital mental health services, including the provision of state budgetary funding for additional behavioral health crisis centers across the state, additional co-responder units, and other resources to assist those with mental health and substance abuse disorders. So that's for y'all's consideration.
So we don't need a motion on it.
Yeah, if you want to adopt that resolution, we didn't need a motion.
I so move, Mr. Chairman.
I second the motion.
It has been motion and second. Do we have any discussion on it? You know, like the many things they start going backwards when they close down that thing over there in Milledgeville. I'm serious. Like all the problems that were being shipped over there, now all the counties is not having to deal with those problems. So it's
I think the jails are especially having to deal with the issues they're not qualified to be dealing with.
Exactly.
People don't need to be in jail. They need to be in some sort of other facility.
Right.
And the state needs to step up, in my opinion.
I agree.
I think the gravamen of this is dealing with not all of the mental health, but dealing with the crisis, which is what our front end people, you know, we've heard our sheriff talk about, maybe not in this meeting, but individually, and I've heard other law enforcement talk about the resolution when Milledgeville was shut down, which was done under a federal Department of Justice lawsuit, that they did that across the country, the way we treated people in the mental health. You know, one time people chained people to beds, you know, and not more than 100 years ago. And mental health, and it's very dear to me because my Uncle Alton, my dad's oldest brother, ran Milledgeville most of his career, as did his daughter as a nurse there. So I know a little bit about how that works from that side, not the ins and outs, but we've come a long way with mental health to where people can be in the community on medications and not have to be chained down. And we can treat the insane, as they were once called, with humanity. The problem is the expectation of the liberal position that we can free people from here and give them the medicine and they'll follow the medicine is defeated by the nature of the disease of mental illness. And people get cured and they don't take the medicine anymore, so it doesn't work. The number one provider or purchaser of mental health medications in the entire country is the Los Angeles County Jail. We have shifted the burden as a society from mental health institutions to schools, and y'all are educators and know about that, and then to jails. Hence what we hear, the school to prison pipeline, whatever you call it. We do not have a successful remedy for this. This is only dealing with the emergency crisis thing that has been now put on our law enforcement. One of the things that happens with law enforcement is if I go nuts in again, okay, if I go nuts in Macon County is going to call Dooley County to come pick me up because I'm a citizen here. And they're going to take me to Sumter Regional, perhaps, but then at Sumter Regional, where they stabilize me to take me to Columbus, they've got to get a deputy here because that county where I went nuts isn't going to be responsible, nor the county where they took me is going to be responsible because it is a sheriff's duty to do this, not the police in the statutes. That's the way that happens. And so that deputy has to then take me, who's not trained to deal with mental health necessarily, so has to take me to Columbus. And if Columbus is full, they got to take me to Thomasville. Thomasville is full. They got to stay with me until I get somewhere. And that's a huge amount of resources and endangering our law enforcement. And I think this is what it's calling on here because the crisis unit they come out when they get ready, and basically they let everybody cool down. So I've spoken my piece.
That might be too late then.
Well, I've spoken my piece on what I think is really going on here. This is probably a Band-Aid effect, but the burden is on the legislature to do something about it and to take it off of us because we as county taxpayers and this board is paying for it, and we're putting our people at jeopardy because of the state decision not to fund mental health crisis. So I think it's a good idea.
Okay. David already got the hand.
You ready to vote?
So, yeah.
You can't
Hope ain't
commit
nobody
me.
nuts around the table.
That's the next vote.
It takes two of y'all. Got some friends.
All in favor by the show of hands, that motion carries.
Let me get your check, Chairman. Cause I'm bad about that. You won't get up, not signing stuff I need you to sign after that.
Okay. And I wouldn't doubt if no money wasn't involved in all this right here. Somebody probably sat down and thought about that thing and said, we can make some money off this by selling what the name of that stuff, Prozac and all that kind of crazy medicine. That the people take, yeah, really.
Mr. Barron, I'm going to let you in on one secret. I want to be able to patent aerosol Prozac so we can just spray it at people that need it.
Moving right along. Okay, then. All right, Ronnie, can you step up here, please?
It's that bad, ain't it?
Not on me.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Item number 16 on the agenda is to remind y'all that the Georgia Department of Natural Resources is requiring the county to remove the trees and brush from the retention pond area at the old landfill site off of Truman Road. That's the video I showed y'all a couple of meetings ago. Rodney's got 3 proposals from contractors that have come out and looked at the project to do what we need. And basically, they're going to be mulching the trees and all the brush down to ground level, where once they leave it, it'll be where we can keep it maintained with our tractors and mowers.
What's supposed to happen?
That's what. So, like I said, we got 3 proposals. Bay McGowan, a local forester here that has connections to people with that type of equipment. He bid $7,800. A Davis Mulching and Digging bid $15,500, and Okmulgee Septic and Sewer bid $15,000.
Where are they from?
Okmulgee Septic's out of Hawkinsville. The Davis Mulching, I'm not sure where they're out of, do I?
I'm not either.
We require, they have to be licensed and all that, or insured.
You done dealt with some of them before?
And I know Babe.
Yeah, Babe, I've dealt with Babe on a personal level. I mean, yeah, they're good.
Didn't we make it where they had to be?
We didn't ask that.
not in this, but didn't we decide on work done in the county by us, they had to be insured or licensed, not licensed, but some kind of bond or?
I don't know anything about it.
Not to my knowledge. And we can require that if you want, but
What happens if they tear something up? Who's it on? Them or us?
tear what up.
What if they hit the building going?
They're not gonna be nowhere near the building. For this work, I don't see the need I don't see there being no issues with that.
I don't either.
Yeah, the only thing we have are test wells, and I've got a map on those, and they'll be flagged out. I mean, they won't be around any structure. Be in between those two mounds back there.
The only thing that concerned me on it, the difference in the prices.
But Ronnie and I have both spoke to Babe yesterday going over. I was a little bit concerned about that, but Babe seemed confident that he would.
And you compare apple to apple, everything.
They were
all three bids.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
John, he's from here.
From there, and he said,
Taxpayer.
and he could probably get started in, he said, a week, I
He
think.
going away, right?
And it's
Yeah, that's a good price. We're going to do what you do his
Yeah.
job.
As early as
Tells
possible
me she
before
ain't
rain
doing a
season.
lot of it because he ain't learned the
Make a
game
big
yet.
mess out of
No, he suffered.
it. He's already
He
gonna.
might be crying for
He
it.
might need some work. He needs some work.
He might need some more when he finishes with this.
You need a motion, Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
Anybody want?
Yeah, I'll make the motion that we go with Babe McGowan on the, work out at the, removing the trees and brush at the retention pond area.
I said,
It has been motion and a second. Do we have any other discussion on it before we vote on it? If not, all in favor by the show of hands. That motion is unanimous.
What's an update on the road paving?
All right now, of course, they came on back and, got the leveling coat on Parker Store and on Slush Eye. And the crew is over there now coming to do the rocking, the, surface treatment. I met with them yesterday morning and they had moved in and working the shoulders right now with all the, the dirt where they clipped it, getting everything blended. So they can, there again, sweep the edges and put the rock on. And then they're gonna move from that, and they're working with the weather, it being cool. Move from there, coming to Slush Eye. And then, of course, they've still got to go back and do the striping and raise the rocker.
So they've done the initial step was put down the asphalt leveling coat.
Correct.
They've done that on all the 2022 roads and 2023 roads.
Right, they worked, well, they've done that on the 2022 road. And the 23 road they're working on now, they have got the leveling coat, they're fixing to start with the rocket.
So the leveling coat's been done on everything.
Right, all the leveling's done. Gilbert Road is a finished product with the exception of the striping.
Okay.
Little Creek is a finished product with the exception of the striping. They've come back, we had it in our contract to, when it was all over with, that they dressed the shoulders on account of taking a chance damaging the new asphalt and pavement. So they've actually what they've done is level it out and hydroseeded it. So those two, Gilbert and Little Creek, is pretty much complete except for the striping. But right now they're working on Parker Store and they're moving to Slush Eye. But both of those have leveling coat in the process of starting the surface treatment on Parker Store.
Okay.
Right now, I assume they'll sweep all of them at one time. They can do that regardless of temperature
Oh yeah.
because it hadn't been done down there.
Yeah, it'll be swept
Yeah.
before they see that. So everybody understands the surface treatment, that last coat they put on it is like, they call it W12, M10 screening, but it's gravel dust.
Right.
Or sand, they refer to it as sand, but it's just ground up granite. And that's the last coat to seal it. and they basically let it sit and absorb everything, and the traffic usually blows
A lot of it.
75–80% of it off, but they'll have to sweep it before they can put the paint on.
Can you ask about the carports? We didn't get it.
Oh, okay, up at Unadilla where that old ambulance service is,
Right.
where they moved from, there was that metal carport. Do you have any need for that at the Public Works
I
Department?
definitely could use it, and I've looked at it about moving it, but you can't move it out of the hole. It's gonna have to be disassembled.
Mm-hmm.
Still, do you have any?
Yes. Yeah,
Okay.
I definitely need.
We've had some folks
They-
inquire about
they-
buying it. We
they
said,
ain't
well,
hard
first we
to
need to
take
see if
apart.
you have a use for it, where we'll give you an opportunity to see, get it moved out there to your place.
Yeah, that's something we could, been looking for a spot to put, some other stuff, signs or what have you, to kind of clear up areas, and that could easily be added to do an enclose if I wanted to. If not, it'll work like it is.
All right, well then you're welcome to get it moved then.
All right, we'll all meet up there tomorrow evening, maybe, bring it to
It's yours.
them. I'm scared of heights.
We got to roll, Bill and man for that. I got a couple of questions.
Yes.
Okay, I had a guy call me last night. Now, what's our procedure? And I told him to call you today, Steve, he want a pipe put in for a new driveway. And he wanted to know what procedures do we need to take to get a pipe?
Normally they contact me and request it, and
Mhm.
I'll tell them, they won't know how much is the pipe. I said, I don't know what size you're gonna need.
Mhm.
So I go inspect it, see what they need. Do you want a normal 24-foot drive put in like we normally do, or you want it wider? And then I figure the cost, and they pay us for the pipe, and we put it in.
Cause he asked me about, will you all install it too? And I wouldn't give him a definite answer, cause I didn't want to lead him wrong. I told him to call Steve this morning. I don't know whether he called you or not this morning.
That's
But
what we've always done.
Uh-huh.
A taxpayer, request a pipe. I verify what they need, and then I give them a cost, and they pay us for the pipe, and then we go out and use furnish the equipment and the dirt necessary. Now, we don't put any rock or anything on it, but we'll put the pipe in.
right. Okay. So I guess if he hadn't called, he will be calling you today.
Yeah, all you have to do is just call me, and then I'll go look at it.
Okay.
Go from there.
And did you ask Brandon about that ditch over there?
Yeah, he went and looked at that situation on Pleasant Valley. He's gonna take care of it.
Oh, okay.
I'll send him a picture, and I can send you one if you want it, but
Mhm.
it's not as bad as it was on account of the leaves are starting to fall. But coming out of that lady's driveway, I could see where it could be
Mhm.
a hindrance trying to,
Mhm.
without getting on in the road, but it's not totally blocked, but it's just some small stuff.
Right.
And excuse me, I had to send him on a job in Doolin where he could get some cotton pickers in on Big Buck Road off of Bethlehem. And on the way back, I had him working up Pinehurst, Byronville, those thick areas and the drains and all, cutting that. But he's going back to Pleasant Valley because when he finished Sloshy, if y'all hadn't looked at it, you need to look how open it is out there.
Yeah, I see. I see.
Yeah, we're working back toward the railroad track and 90.
Mhm.
He's going back to that point, so I'm gonna let him swing up there and knock that out of her driveway.
Right.
As long as she's not gonna be upset about some wood chips flying.
I hope not. But I just didn't know whether it was on the right of way or not. That's what I told her.
It's hanging over driveway, yeah.
Uh-huh. Okay.
The trees are
Going
probably
back, Sir.
the trees are probably off the right of way, but the limbs are hanging
Oh,
over
yeah,
the right of
yeah.
way.
They're on the back slope and all,
Uh-huh.
but the limbs are hanging, and I can see where it is a problem.
Yeah. Okay.
It's not major, but it is
Right.
a problem.
Right.
But we take care of it.
Okay. All right. I appreciate it.
Yes.
I'll give a call then. All right. That's all I had.
Anybody got any other questions or comments for Rodney while he's here?
Fuel center moving right along.
Sir.
Fuel center.
I got them, we worked hard on that thing because the next step is the canopies coming in. And they've got everything in place with the exception of the canopy and the tank. And we finally got our dirt leveled around it, compacted like we wanted it, and I got the crew now putting crushing run on the entrance and exit of the canopy area, because I didn't, when they bring a truck and all to set all that, I don't want them tracking mud if it happened to rain on the concrete. Gotta be done anyway, but I hope to finish that up this morning, and all we'll be waiting on is the tanks and the canopy. And they said 1st of November now. I haven't spoken with any of them, but.
This year, this year.
Well, he wasn't specific, but he did say no, 1st of November. But yeah, it's coming right along. It's looking good. You'll have to go with Myers.
All right. Thank you, sir.
And if anybody wants a deer, I know where one is. I knew I shouldn't have ordered camouflage this morning because I took one out on 41.
Were you truck? Did it hurt?
Oh,
If it
man.
hadn't been for the brush guard, it probably told it. I mean, I was doing speeding. But anyway, when I looked,
There
he was dead in front of me.
Nothing you can do.
And it sounded like a hammer hit the top of the roof and he disappeared. I said, well, I know that deer didn't run off.
Yeah.
I pulled down there and seen what kind of damage I had, and I went back and found him, and the fence caught him. He's in the bushes over there. Nice 8-point. One side of the rack looks good if y'all want him. The meat probably tenderized. So
I'm glad it was you and none of me. I had my share last year.
I just dodged 4 or 5 this morning.
So we could mount him like this.
Well, that's
on
good.
the side
You
of
don't
the-
smell
Yeah,
it
man.
because
There you
I'm
go.
gonna tell you that.
Yeah.
That'll get you.
I called Steve, I called the sheriff's office and see if I need to report, because I was unsure about the insurance. Randy said no. Do I still report this?
No.
I can tell you how it
Yeah,
works.
what
He did
We'll
tell the
try.
insurance company. We in a deer infested area.
I hate it.
No deer.
Is that it?
That's it.
Thanks,
Thank
sir.
Guess he bucked him.
All right, Mr. Chairman, that's everything except a brief executive session, and then Mr. Morris with River Valley Regional Commission is going to log in to talk about, give a brief update on the zoning ordinance. So,
Go ahead, I'll make a motion.
uh,
I make a motion for the channel, we go into executive session.
Okay, it has been motion and second. All in favor by the show of hands. That motion carries.
This conference will now be recorded.
okay, Rick, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Glenn, are you online?
Yes, sir, I am.
Okay. All right. Rick, I've given the commission a little brief history of what's going on. You've been working with Glenn and the planning commission trying to update our zoning ordinance in real simple terms. I understand you have prepared a land development code that's pretty much modeled after the one Chris County adopted 2 years ago. Is that accurate?
Yeah, I mean, that's accurate.
Okay. Could you give us just a real brief, what's the difference in what our current zoning ordinance does and what the land development code sort of does?
I can. I'm going to read some intros from surrounding communities, like Columbus and their UDO. And it'll give you an idea. And let me drop back on that as well. I did the CRISP and change the name. I didn't correct anything to it or add anything to it, but I really just wanted for y'all to take, like a look at it and see if this is something that you think you want to do or not do. But let me read this. And this is from Columbus, the city of Columbus here in Georgia, not in Ohio. The Unified Development Ordinance is the compilation of regulations that govern land use, which includes the zoning ordinance, the environmental ordinance, and subdivision ordinance regulations. And then they have a list of the purpose of these regulations is as follows. There's about 10 of them. I'm just going to read 1 or 2. Here again, to promote the public health, safety, general welfare by regulating the subdivision development and land use to prevent overcrowding of land, to lessen congestion in the streets. And all of that's probably mentioned in your current ordinance because you have to list all that, as a public entity to say this is what we're trying to do and what we're trying to protect and things like that. One of the other ones, let me see. Unified Development Code regulates the use of land, the location and use of buildings and other site improvements, and the construction of public facilities and private improvements related to the development of land, in the county, in the city, etc. And this was a quote from 2021. I got this out of the Planning magazine. In their entirety, these documents consist, and what they're talking about now, especially in our bigger communities, there are a lot of documents out there that when you add it all up, it's a lot of pages, and they're all separate documents. And it says in their entirety, these documents consist of several hundred pages, not the UDO, but the ones that exist now all over the place, which are often overlapping and sometimes inconsistent. A unified development code streamlined these documents into one combined document that would be more easily accessible to the public, designers, and county staff reviewers. The inconsistency part, that's true. You look at what over the years, there's been several different people here at the RC that have done zoning. Tracy Hadaway, who's back with us, me, Patty, Allison, and Courtney, who was with us for a while. So it's easy when you go in to change a document, even if it's just one section of the zoning ordinance, to make a mistake. And then if that's referenced in another document like subdivision rules and regulations, and I'll give you an example. Let's say the zoning ordinance reads, for single family, you have to have 1 acre of land minimum. And then you go back to the subdivision regulations and it says the amount of acreage needed to develop in Quitman County or whatever in single family residential is a half acre. We have a little bit of problem with that with the health department because most of our communities are on septic tanks. And the health department, if everything's perking, their regs allow you to go down to a half acre. And so you have that discrepancy. And so hopefully with a UDO where things are combined all into one document, you wouldn't have the inconsistencies that many of our counties are having now. I will tell you this, Quitman County is working with an attorney from a firm up in Atlanta. They do a lot of work for ACCG. And I think there's like 30 attorneys with this company or whatever. And he does, handles all the zoning work and things like that. And right now they're going through and updating all their documents from the zoning ordinance to the subdivision regs to, any of the environmental ordinances that the state asked everybody to adopt over the years. So he's going through and trying to evaluate and then get rid of any of the inconsistencies. So, if they go to court for something, it's all there. There's nothing that's contradicting the other thing. So in my own personal, not my personal opinion, but, doing this over the years, I would say just, a little bit more scrutiny on the documents that exist, like your subdivision regs, the zoning. I mean, it's easy enough and do word searches now to see what matches. So in other words, either way, as long as you have your zoning ordinance and that's adopted properly, as long as you have your subdivision regulations and those were all adopted properly, I don't have an opinion one way or the other as to which way I would go. But I would say, even based on, because I have talked to the attorney up in Atlanta a couple times about some things in Quitman County. But, we've talked and chatted together. But the critical thing, whether the documents are all together or whether they're still individual documents, is that you don't have any inconsistencies because, lawyers love inconsistencies.
Right.
Especially when you go to court. So either way, I mean, updating the existing ordinance and going through and checking for those inconsistencies and adding all the new stuff that the state's required, as far as variances and things like that. I have no problem doing it one way or the other. And I have no preference whether it's a UDO or whether, we just continue in the fashion, here's your zoning ordinance, here's your subdivision regs. And you have those, you have those, and you go through the process of, evaluating those and working through those, during a zoning situation or a subdivision situation or a building permit situation. So, that's about all for me. I did the UDO because I thought, well, all I did was change the names from Crisp County to
To
Dooley
Dooley
County.
County.
And, and I went through some of it. My understanding of some of the things, the way it's adopted, the by resolution, how they did that. The attorney, who's ever their attorney was, put that together. Or I think Bill Ross did their UDO, and he's a really, really, really good guy to have do one. But that's new territory for me. But I don't see where it might necessarily be that difficult to merge everything together in a UDO. If that's what y'all want it to do, if everything's in there and it's all consistent and you really don't have to worry about inconsistency of your ordinances, anymore. But, just doing it this way and, having the zoning ordinance, the subdivision regs, there again, you keep all of that. We just go through and make sure it's all consistent. And even with building regulations and the environmental regs, did you all adopt all of was it back in the 90s? The state was asking everybody to adopt those environmental regulations, wetlands, now I'm having a brain freeze. Welcome to 65. Wetlands, the aquifers, in the regulations in regards to aquifers and things like that, and the building requirements related to that. Did y'all ever adopt all of that? Because I know for one time, or for the longest time in our report we do to DCA, they were really big on that. Have your communities adopted this? Have your communities adopted this? Have your communities adopted this? And this was talking about the environmental regs, the floodplains and all of that. That's one big thing if y'all have adopted that. But that's something that would also be merged into a UDO. The whole idea is any regulation you have in relationship to buildings, building construction, where you want buildings to go, where you want single family residential to go, that's all there again. I think it's a little more detail in a UDO to try to give a little bit more depth to the type of building activities that you're all going to see, within the next 10 years, that sort of thing. Because I was in Harris County the other night and there was a guy there from New York City and he moved down to Harris County. He lived in Atlanta for a while. So I think he's 1/4 Southerner. But he's an engineer and he did all sorts of work in New York City and with the city of Atlanta. And his only meeting, this is at the Harris County comp plan that I'm putting together. His insight said, look, this not only applies to Harris County. I mean, you guys will catch the brunt of it with Columbus, Harris County, and maybe even some of the counties around like Talbot. But, you all being right on 75, I don't see how you get more growth. I know when Glenn was showing me around the county, Glenn stopped by, and this is how good your building inspector is. Glenn stopped by, he knew that guy hadn't got a permit, and he stopped in and he said, "Hey man, I need you to, fill out the form on the internet, so because you can't do what you're doing." And the guy was like, "Well, gee, I'm from Pennsylvania." He said, "I left Pennsylvania because I thought it was easier down here." And that was like, no, you you still got to meet our ordinances and stuff. So, you've already had that impact. People coming down or people moving to Macon, not liking Macon, coming on in. When I mean the city of Macon. But anyway, as good as your ordinances can be and as accurate and consistent they can be, either way y'all want it to do that, either way will work. It's just a matter of whether or not you want to put it all together in one book.
Okay, all right. Well, that's what I kind of wanted to hear from you and for the board to hear, and so we'll take that information and we'll be making a decision shortly about which way we want to proceed.
Now, if y'all can go ahead, but if you want, if you want me to get together with Glenn some and still, see anything we can address, it's got to be addressed one way or the other while y'all are debating it. And if not, I won't touch the ordinance, but if it's still all right for me to get with Glenn and update some stuff, I'd be glad to do that while you're thinking about it.
All right. Well, once Glenn gets over his current illness and gets back to the office, I'll get with him and he and I'll discuss it, and then he'll get back in touch with you.
All right. Well, it's great to talk to y'all.
Thank you, Rick.
All right. Y'all have a great day.
You too.
Thank you.
All right.
Unified Development Ordinance, of what UDO stand for.
Yeah, that's what.
Is
And
it for real, unified?
yeah, unified.
Oh, I was just trying to think unified or.
And this is Chris County's Unified Development Code that they did 2 years ago. I think it's about 400 something pages.
Okay.
So
My 2 cents worth on this is I've been watching zoning things go on for 27 and a half years. And particularly Lee County and Leesburg. And at the time, my predecessor was the county attorney and the city attorney for Leesburg and Lee County and set up zoning for both of them in the early 90s. About the time 94 we had a flood here, we set up zoning. Okay. And over the years, we tried to keep them in tandem because there's different things in cities than there are in counties, but not a whole lot. But there's little nuances that are different. But over the years, what would happen is we would get a new planning person in for the county that did the stuff for the cities. And they would always come in, they would bring in their ideas from the last place they worked and then put them in there. One in particular was to put in green spaces and parks in the new subdivisions. Well, after about 10 years of that, the county didn't want to maintain them or the city didn't want to maintain them. We all started giving them back to the other, and we went through all this stuff because somebody picked one up off the shelf, plugged it in, and said, "This is what you need to have. Yours is no good." You see what I mean? So the idea of a UDO that we just adopt because the neighborhood has it, that's a good idea in the sense of being an engineer and you just kind of sell something that someone else has already done recently and you pretend you did all the good work, and maybe they do. What I want to know is what are the inconsistencies that we're trying to correct with that, if that's what his role is going to be, and let's find out how bad they are, and let's look at how they were created, and let's resolve how they're created so we don't keep doing that in the future. And so that means when we start adopting things in the future, we hold the feet to the fire of whoever's drafting those to make it sure that it's consistent across the way and we don't come up with this. Now, every now and then you've got to deal with this. My preference would be not to just throw the baby out with the bathwater. Let's find out what the real problems are. And he's right about some things with lot size and all that, but one size does not fit all. We are not Quitman County. We do not have lakefront property.
Man, you got but 2 people.
Right. And we're not Harris County. Harris County and Lee County are more analogous than anything else.
What do we require now? 1 acre? Didn't we say we went to 1 acre?
We were, it
1
was
acre.
5.
Yeah, it was 5. I remember
Yeah,
It
then.
was
5.
10. It was 10 to
Yeah,
start
because
with.
when I got here, I actually changed it.
Yeah. But the thing about it though, like you trying to do a little subdivision, to me it matters where you got water coming in or not.
Yeah, see all that again,
Yeah.
you have to put
If you
that
got,
in.
you got water coming from the county or from the city, you know, you seem like you shouldn't have to have a whole acre.
Exactly. The only reason why the acre is because of the distance between the septic tank
Yeah,
and the
probably,
well.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. If you got,
But there's a subdivision, then you know you already got. I mean, a drainage system going out to a holding pond or whatever, so you don't have to have that distance. Yeah. Then the water coming in from the one big place. So
Well,
right, you can
all
One of
accommodate
our
that.
biggest things lately has been, we've got a gap in zoning. In residential is, you got somebody that wants to put a mobile home on an R1 spot. So we don't allow for a mobile home on an R1. So then you go to R2, which is multifamily. But they want to put a single family mobile home. We had that on Slosh Eye. They want to put a single family mobile home. But you zone it to R2, you've lost that. If they want to build duplexes, or if they want to build an apartment or whatever on that piece of property, we need another zone for like single family mobile home. I see that being in the future of like mobile home neighborhoods, possibly.
Does a single family, does that mean a single wide?
Single family is like a stick-built house,
Okay.
like your R1
Mm-hmm.
on your house. But to put a mobile home on it, you got to go to a multifamily where you can have, that's the same as a duplex, apartment complex, trailer park is the R2.
The reason I asked that because some communities consider double wides a house. As long as you do the underpinning and the blocking around it. Then some communities say no double wides at all. So that we need to get.
Yeah, same thing with that boy with
That's
that.
been the biggest gap I've seen come
Paint
to
shop.
us lately
Yeah.
is you got to decide and go from one to the other, and then you got the other one out in mind of where they want a spot zone.
Mhm.
They want to throw a commercial piece right in the middle of a
Residential.
residential area, and
So that's what we talked about last meeting. You went here, out there in your district.
yeah, I heard y'all changed it to R2.
No, we
They
didn't
ain't
do
changed
anything.
nothing.
Bert told me if you want to.
Mr. Bullard.
Oh, not
withdrew
Bullet.
his
I mean the other lady on
on
Slosh.
Slosh Eye. Yeah, they approved it being rezoned to R2 to allow for a manufactured house to be in that area.
But just using him as an example, what would be so no way he can have a paint shop, no way out there? Or why do we give him a permit? From my understanding, is the thing just been built?
It's 2 years.
Yeah.
It just was a shop.
And we gave him a permit to do a what?
Garage.
A garage.
So what can you do in the garage? Somebody said you can't change the oil. Then they said they didn't want to change the oil.
Root Vaughn stopped all that.
You can change your oil in
Uh-huh.
your car.
Oh, but nobody else oil.
You can't start running a business out of your.
You know, can't be a hobby.
Okay.
You can't have
Okay.
like in R1 you can do home-based businesses like computer work.
Mm-hmm.
Is it Harrison
I'd
Line?
have to get the
I don't
orders
even
out.
know
I'd
about
But what
take
about
care of
painting?
them.
What about painting your own car then?
He can paint his own.
He can paint his own. But what about his wives? What about his uncles?
He can paint
So he
that. But when he got knocked was when they had pictures. He was painting a church bus.
Oh, he can't paint no bus.
He was
He's
Yeah.
the charge.
Brothers.
He's not the
Mhm.
Partridge
You
family.
can-
He was charging for his services.
Okay, but he can't do his own oil changes. I said, why the man did the bill if he can't do nothing in it? But okay, I understand.
We just keep going down that road.
started, he just said it was gonna be a storage.
Okay, he
That
did
works
say
that way a lot of
How
times.
they did
People
it.
know they'll start
You
with
wouldn't even
this.
gonna
and
have
they'll
water
do
in
it.
there.
And if
They
it
kinda
wasn't
branch
paint,
out.
like out there, if he ran a garage,
Mhm.
like a changing oil and all,
It would be okay.
he'd probably be fine.
But
But when
paint,
you drive out there when he's painting, the haze and the wind is blowing straight into the other man.
But that's what I was concerned about. What the distance
Yeah,
is between his shop and his neighbors? So that you know, if he's painting, then if the wind is blowing, it will affect them, or is it so far away until it doesn't affect? Because I really hadn't been out
Well,
there.
now,
can you have
no,
a
paint
paint-
body shop, most paint body shops, they've got these $100,000
Oh, yeah,
ventilation
they
systems.
got-
Yeah, but
Oh,
that's what I was
that's
about to
what I
say
was
too.
gonna
That
ask
come,
too,
you know,
yeah,
with
so you gotta
that
have
the
some
ventilation system.
No, he just got the van carrying it out.
He's
Yeah.
just venting it out and it's blowing towards
Mhm.
the neighbor's
All right.
house.
Oh,
But if it was a changing oil, I bet he'd be fine.
You have rules in place and people don't want to follow those rules. And they get you to going down the rabbit hole with them of changing the rules or making exceptions to the rules. And then you become advocates for this, that, or the other. You know, every person's home is their castle, including the next door neighbor who doesn't want overspray. So that's the reason you have zoning, is to protect the general public. And if you want to do that, put it in a business district or get it rezoned. But otherwise, when you start making exceptions and doing spot zoning, you're going to be in trouble because you don't have a reason to have a zoning ordinance at that point.
but that's a catch-22 though. I mean, like, why they got it on the book then that you can change it? Take it off the book.
You have to have a mechanism.
Then my friend come, oh, you give it to my friend. Then your friend come, you don't give it. But you know, it's a catch-22.
You have it on there because there has to be some sort of due process for exceptions. And the due process is notice to the neighbors so they can participate in the process at the planning commission and here ultimately if it comes here. And then there's a fair process. The problem is you have to make the decision. And the decision is going to be one of two things, either enforce what you've got or to make an exception. And that's not a pleasant place to be.
Yeah,
Because
sure.
because the people who are asking you to do that all have good intentions when they come forward. And the neighbors don't like it either. And
Well, I'm
so,
gonna tell you, when your neighbors literally go and get a letter from their doctor, now, they gonna fight you.
Yeah.
They gonna fight you, I
Already got a
guarantee you.
lawyer ready for
The only thing I don't understand is why you got the rule on the book if you can change it.
And then the guy asked about some junk cars. The guy running a garage. And,
Oh, Lord.
they said all them cars over there, man. He has around his business. Then he said that ain't nothing but junk. Then the first thing, the guy that owned all the junk cars, he pointed up at the peanut wagons. He said that ain't nothing but junk either. You gonna make them move it? Nah, I said
That's a catch-22
Yeah,
at all.
right,
Right,
I said,
you just got to be
I'm-
fair
I'm-
to everybody.
yeah. I'm so glad I'm in the county. That was in the city, and I heard that argument. You know,
But you know, that was before he moved out there though.
Mm-hmm.
When he bought that land, you know what it was.
So like in Unadilla going out 230,
Mm-hmm.
you know, they bought that, I don't know who it is. They bought that house before you get inside place on the
Mhm.
left. They got they're working on the cars.
Oh yeah, they finally stopped him.
No, but I mean, the city's thing is, and your argument to the wagons is, if it's got a VIN number and it's not tagged or insured, it's a junk car. It's got to be moved. But like the trailer, those pecan wagons, they don't have VIN numbers. Because that came up in Unadilla. That came up in Unadilla when they started making people haul the junk cars out of the yards that weren't tagged and insured.
Yeah.
Somebody said the same thing about Birdsong. Having all these wagons, they said, well, that's not VIN and doesn't have to be tagged. So that's,
So he can have them cars in
now.
Unadilla?
Huh?
He can have all those cars in Unadilla? He can't.
I think
Gotta got a VIN number.
they getting ready to get him.
I was finna say, 'cause he got like 100.
He's got parts strewed out.
Yeah,
all
in the
that.
front yard. I thought somebody, but
Yeah,
I don't know.
Okay.
Is it for-
Let me see if,
She left.
Renetta's out here.
The joker was talking. I was just, I was there, so they're gonna throw that conversation off on me.
Mm-hmm.
But it was in the city,
Mm-hmm.
and the only thing I did was just heard the argument, and I said, well,
So I walked past the one.
I'm a county commissioner. You got their own government.
Yeah.
You all have
People don't realize
Is
that.
there any issue out
Why
there?
they don't realize that?
Oh, you didn't know.
They try to put everything on us.
They're on all the
Yeah,
time.
I see in the city. We can't do anything in the city.
That's all I got, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Other than calling about the the proclamation. Okay.
Yeah, I'll give her
Yeah.
a call. Right.
And I need to probably call Harper. Harper already might have it. I don't know what she got.
So what Bernetta wanted?
Yeah.
Oh, you don't know? Don't nobody know? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I make a motion, Mr. Chairman, we adjourn then.
Okay, there's a motion and second. All in favor, please stand and lift.